Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your host for today's episode. And today on the show, I have Allison Huddleston, CEO of Champions Westlake, as my guest. We're going to be learning about her business, her journey to business ownership, best practices, and challenges that she may have faced to show you what it's like to build and operate a business. Welcome, Allison. So great to meet you. Thanks for being here today.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
Of course. But before we dive into all things business, I'd love to share a bit about you and your backstory. So feel free to share a bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am a longtime Austin resident. My family moved here in 96 when I was in second grade and been here ever since. I grew up my mom was a professional dancer. So I grew up in the dance, cheerleading, gymnastics, industries as after school sports. And it became an absolute love and did it in college. And I'm so blessed and so fortunate that I was able to transform that into a career. I tell everyone it's like you get to go do the thing you love most as a child for your job. I feel like I'm probably one of very few people that gets to say that. But it's just been so fun to get to work. Of course, I'm doing a different side of it now. I'm not on the floor, I'm not flipping anymore, but um I get to be part of something that's been a passion my whole life, and that's just so awesome.
That is so cool. And like immediately when I read about you before we got on the show, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a former dancer and gymnast too." So I'm super excited to have this conversation with you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna have lots to relate about.
100%. Okay, so let's take it back. Now, you were doing this up, through college and through parts of your life. Now, how did you become the CEO of Champions?
Yes, so I actually started in 2012, so it's been a little while now. Not as CEO, but, you know, being in this industry, I think it's very typical for athletes to become, junior coaches, and then those junior coaches become coaches, and, so I really am fortunate to have worked my way up kind of the ladder of the industry, and gotten to learn, so many different facets of it. So in 2012, I joined Champions as the cheer team director and got to, experience that leadership role, which I learned so much about leadership and just working. You're so used to being a team player as an athlete and learning how to be a team player as not just a leader, but as an employee. And um, anyways, I went from that position on to just leading some other different departments. And in 2017, Champions opened their second location, and I took over there as manager. And then in 2020, my mother-in-law, who opened the gym in 96, decided to take a step back. And at that time, my now husband and I were dating, and she was like, we always knew there'd be this kind of handoff, but COVID forced our hand a little bit. And so my husband and I wound up taking over and becoming co-CEOs at that time. So it's not the most exciting story, it just everything kind of just happened in a very sequential order. But I'm really thankful for that because I think I learned a lot along the way.
Wow, I think it's an incredible story. And I think that's like truly stepping into your purpose of what you're meant to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, let's kind of dive in a little deeper. I love this story so far. It's been so fun. And now kind of I'd like to learn about sort of your roles as like co-CEOs. Are you guys doing different roles in the company or kind of like what's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think being married to your co-CEO, you know their strengths, they know your strengths. You also know their weaknesses and they know yours. And so we try and take advantage of the fact that we both know that we're not good at the same things. I am definitely more of someone who likes to make faster decisions. I like to get that product or that service out there. I'm like, okay, let's test it. Let's see how it's going. And thankfully, my husband is someone who likes to sit down, really think through it, make a pros and cons list. And so, we joke that individually we wouldn't be the best person for our job, but together we get to bring these different aspects and these different perspectives, and that just enhances, the product that we're putting out. But a typical day for us, it's a lot of meetings. We as CEOs, we are very fortunate to have managers at each of our locations that have a leadership team that they delegate to. So we get to focus on big picture, very global um, stuff, like what is the vision for this company? How are we going to grow this company? What are we doing now that's working? We get to do a lot of the analytical business financial stuff, but we also get to do a lot of the dreaming part of it, which makes it makes the maybe not so fun tasks fun, because at the end of the day, you get to go, okay, this is, like, let's look back at our wish list. Let's look at what we've accomplished that had been on our wish list, and let's look at what we are excited to work towards in the future.
Oh, that is really cool. It sounds like you've created a great dynamic, especially with each of your skills and each of you like in the business as well as looking at the future of the business as well.
Yes, yeah. My mother-in-law, who started the business, just set this. There's so many traditions, and we've been in the same community for this will be our 30th year in August. And so it's one of those, like, it's so cool to see the traditions that have withstood 3 decades and go, okay, how can we take those and utilize what's so very clearly important to this community and just grow it for future generations.
Definitely. Well, looking at it sounds like you and your husband are doing most of the like the overseeing and like the leadership, and you talked about you have managers as well. So tell me a bit about your current team with that. Are there any other, I would say, like executive team, and how many current employees do you have?
Yeah, so this industry, like the gymnastics, cheerleading, dance industry, I think differs a lot from maybe a more corporate type of business structure. And I'm prefacing that because I feel like some people might hear what I'm about to say and go, "Oh my gosh, how do they make that work?" And it is just a different thing. But so my husband and I, we run the business, but my mother-in-law still, we have a meeting with her once a week, because when someone's been involved in the business for that long, she's our mentor, and we need to know where we came from to know where we're going. So the three of us kind of form that high level executive team. But our high level leaders, which for us is our HR person, and then our two location managers, that group of us meets, once or twice a week as needed. And they are really like our representatives for the company. And then each department has, we have about 5 departments, and each department has its own, leader, coordinator. And we've really focused on communication and delegation, and to make that work as most people do. But we have the vast majority of our employees are in college, and our leadership is fresh out of college, and so it's very cool because we get these these incredible people who are either currently learning about business or marketing or communications, and then we have these leaders who are fresh out of school. And so it's like I get to take what we've learned from business and from school that we went to so many years ago, and then I get to combine it with these fresh new ideas and perspectives. And that's um and then just personally getting to watch these leaders grow into their 30s and find themselves. It's the most rewarding thing.
That sounds so cool, especially getting to work, yeah, work with young people and help
Yeah.
them shape not only the business but themselves as well.
Yeah.
So looking at your current team, how many employees do you have?
Depending on the season, we have between 40 and 50 employees between our two locations. And that's because we're really busy in the summer. We do summer camps and, all the fun summer kid activities. So we usually beef up our staff during those months. But we're like at a solid 40, 45 throughout the year.
Amazing, amazing. And kind of looking at the future of the business, I want to see what your plans are looking forward. What are your plans, like some big goals you have, say in the next 3 to 5 years?
Our big goal is to open up a third location.
Ooh.
We're constantly scouting new places and just talking to different developers. Austin is it's a funny place, right? Because everything's, you know, it's growing so fast. So there's so much potential. And then you also look at a plot of land and you're like, it's how much?
Yeah,
So like it's
true.
and also realizing that like Austin's growing, but Bastrop's growing and Bee Cave is growing and Buda and Kyle are growing. And there's just so much happening around the city. It's one of those like we feel very fortunate that there's so many opportunities and so many directions we can go. But overall, the overarching goal is growth. We are so passionate about what our mission is and what our goals are with these kids and that we would love to be able to bring that to other communities.
Love hearing that for sure. And looking at your programs and how you're getting the word out about your business, what are some of the ways you're marketing to your clients? This will be a two-part question. So the first part is, how are you marketing to your clients, and who are your clients? Who are you marketing to?
Yes. Well, I'll start with the who we're marketing to, because that one's always, I think it's tough, especially in this industry. Like, are you marketing to the kids or are you marketing to the parents? And the truth is, you're marketing to both of them, because the parents have the money. And so they're the ones that are paying the tuition, and they're the ones who's, that family's at the mercy of that family's schedule. So you're looking at, okay, do my offerings match what most of these families have going on in their lives? Is my pricing something that this demographic can sustain? But you're also marketing to the kids because if the class isn't fun, then they're not learning new skills, um, then they don't want to come back. So it's twofold for us. But the best form of marketing for us is word of mouth. And I think that that's always the answer, right? Like a personal recommendation of, oh my God, you got to try them. I mean, that's how I found my hairdresser. And that's how I found the girl that does my nails. Like that's how we all want like that personal recommendation. Um, but we've tried to figure out ways to like social media is great. We're all over social media. We love to show off what these kids are learning and we love to show off, their accomplishments when they go to competition. But I have found that just that personal touch is so much easier than I think a lot of people think it's going to be. And it makes a world of a difference. Like I can send out, and we do, I can send out an e-blast. I can send out a fancy email with our logo and pictures and 14 clickable links, with call to action. And I can do all the things. And it gets a response. But when I send out an email that says, hey, parents, it's me, Allison, just wanted to pop in here and say, we're so proud of the work that your kids have done this competition season. I can't believe that this is what I get to do. And it's all truth. I can't believe this is what I get to do every day. Like, I can't believe I get to watch. What a privilege and an honor to watch your kids grow up in the gym. Here are some changes we're thinking about making. Can I get your feedback on them? Or here's a new program we're starting. Can we get your support on it? The response to that is so overwhelming. And I think I've just learned that like people just want to feel the human connection, especially when it involves their kids. You know, um, so many people talk about things like, oh, I went to the doctor, I went here, and it feels like I was just a number. We
Mm.
never, like, just as a person, I never want anyone to feel like that with me. But oh my gosh, the children, and so we preach to our staff like it is a privilege and an honor to be part of these kids' lives. And so I think that's one of our best, the authenticity and the realization that like these kids that we're working with today become the people who are leading the world tomorrow.
Mm.
If we can project that through every facet of our business, that is something we deeply care about, it's been the best marketing for us because it's the truth. It's not something we're not having to dive into the psychology of marketing and how are we going to convince parents that they need this. Well, let's just convince them of what's true. We love what we do, and this is a good thing for your child.
Oh, I love that approach. I think that's such a golden nugget and such a takeaway for our listeners across industries, as you know, that human to human connection is really important, especially now more than ever because
Oh
of
my gosh, yes. With all the social and all of the like, don't get me wrong. I will scroll at night before bed and I will connect. I've met some of the best people online and connected with them, but there's something about knowing the face or being familiar with the person who's on the other end of it that just people want that.
Yeah, they definitely do. Well, I want to dive into something that many business owners or all business owners are faced with at some time in their career is challenges. You know, it is such a lonely place being entrepreneurial and being in that space. So, what is something that you're currently challenged with in your business?
Yeah. Oh, I feel like anybody who's running a business or owns a business, like you said, like they can relate. There are days where you come home and you're like, I can't believe I get to do this. And then there are days where you come home and you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like,
Yeah.
what have I gotten myself into? And I think for me, what's really helped is the realization, one, that those days are going to happen. And if I go into my year or my week expecting every day to be just the best day ever, I'm kind of setting myself up for failure. So I'm like, okay, here's, Sunday night, I'm kind of prepping for the week. What Without creating too much anxiety, what are the challenges that I may be anticipating for this week? And how can I more or less like protect myself, not from having to deal with it, but like what are my boundaries for this week going to be so that I'm not burning myself out dealing with these inevitable things.
Hmm.
And something that I have found over the last couple years is, and like it is my soapbox. I am all about the self-care. And so many people are like, you mean like going and getting a massage? And I'm like, I mean, sure, I will never say no to a spa day. But
I'm with you.
right, right, like it's the best. But when I talk about self-care as an owner or as someone who's running a business, what I'm more talking about are those boundaries or are those like, okay, I need to delegate this because I don't have enough room on my plate to deal with this, or I am going to put my phone on do not disturb at this time because my family does deserve my full attention. And I think that it's so easy to feel guilt in having those boundaries and
Mm,
feeling like you're not giving. But when we don't, we're it's the problem is twofold. We're teaching our employees like, hey, I don't have boundaries, so I'm expecting you to not have boundaries.
mhm,
I'm not setting a good example for my employees if I'm coming to work stressed out, if I'm frantic about getting something done, if I am burnt out. I'm not stressed. I want to tell them, I don't want, like, if I'm telling them, I don't want you burnt out. I want you to take things in stride. I want you to be level headed. But I'm not being those things. I'm not setting the right example. But also, I want my employees to get the best version of me because
mhm,
leadership is a trickle down thing. And so if I'm not taking care of myself, then they're not going to get the best version of me, which is not going to get, then the people who are reporting to them are not going to get the best version of them.
mhm,
And for us, that trickles all the way down to the kids. If it trickles down to a coach and then that coach is coaching a kid and that coach has been the recipient of four separate people's bad days, that
mm,
kid is not going to get, or in a more broad business sense, that client is not going to get the attention and respect and consideration that they deserve. Um, and so those are kind of like my soapbox things. Like you've sometimes you have to take a step back in order and take care of yourself in order to take the next 10 steps forward. And we get so hung up on the anxiety and the guilt of doing that, um, that we don't realize that like we're human. We need a break. We need a day. I tell my employees like there's no award. There's no award at the end of the year for like not taking your PTO. Like
Right.
I'm not going to give you a handshake. I'm not going to give you a bonus. I'm going to say, bummer. Should have used your PTO. So it's like, I'm very, very big on the self-care, taking care of, if we take care of ourselves, we take care of our business.
Oh, definitely. I think that's huge. Looking at self-care and, looking at the context of like the business, is there anything that's like holding you back or anything that is a kind of a hard hurdle in keeping those boundaries?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that for me personally, there's a very like a people pleaser mentality. And you don't want uh that's for me, that's been a challenge, is having to navigate like being a people pleaser, not wanting people to be upset or not wanting people to misunderstand where I'm coming from. And at the same time, there are a lot of times where I'm holding information that's confidential or it's personnel information or it's just things that can't be shared um, the way that I would just maybe want to blurt it out and be like, see, if you knew all this, that would be that would change your perspective. And I think as owners and CEOs and leadership, sometimes you have to withhold information for the because it's confidential. And
Mhm.
especially when you're working with kids, there's a lot more things that you can and can't share. There are rules around that. They're minors, so there are things that go along with that. But so that's one for me. I think in general, for people in this kind of position, it is knowing and being confident and trusting that yes, I've made the right decision, um, versus like, did I make the right decision? Or, I know I made the right decision, but these employees maybe didn't agree with the decision I made. And so it's this balancing of I have the most global perspective of my business. And I want to work hard to build a bond of trust with all my employees, but particularly my leadership employees, so that when they don't understand the full picture, I can say, here's what I can share with you now, but please trust me that this is the direction that we needed to go. And I think from talking to other people that are kind of in the same type of position, it's difficult. Sometimes you go to bed and you're like, okay, I know I did the right thing, but it doesn't feel the way I don't feel the way I thought I would feel after making that decision. Or, I think for us, a lot of times it's like I maybe let go of someone that needed to be let go from this company.
Mhm.
And, um, and I know I made the right decision. I know that was the best thing for everyone involved, but it still didn't feel good. And so just having to balance, I think balance a lot of them, maybe the overarching theme is like balancing a lot of differing emotions, even
Mhm.
when in your gut, you know that what you did was the right thing for your business. And just being aware that, like, that's a challenge to have to reconcile all of that. Uh,
Mm.
but I think it gives us more depth and more wisdom. And I think it teaches us the next time it happens, we don't have to spiral about like, "Oh my gosh, well, I have anxiety about this decision that I made." We go, "Okay, I know this feeling. This is probably good that I'm feeling this range of emotions because it's teaching me to analyze what I did, and then I will sleep on it and wake up tomorrow and have a little more clarity on it."
It's such an honest answer, and that's like I think so many business owners struggle with something similar of that nature, whether it be it just like that trusting yourself and knowing that it's okay to not feel okay in the moment because you made the decision that was better for the company. Um, I struggle with the same thing, so I like really
Yeah,
relate to
yeah.
you. So thank you for sharing that. This has been such a fun conversation so far. Now
Thanks.
I want to get into our fun. It's our Q&A, our rapid fire Q&A.
Let's do it. Oh, I'm excited.
All right. All right. So there's 4 questions. And first question is, what is a key to success for you?
Ooh, if I had to pick one word, I think it's humility. That's been like my lesson of the year. Humility, learning to say, I mean, I had a meeting today where I had to look at it at one of my leaders and go, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Here's how I'm going to make it right in the future. And just being able to like leave the ego at the door. Uh, the things that it has done for relationship building, huge.
That's incredible. That's a big one. That's a big one. Number 2 is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Mm. Oh, that's a hard one because I feel like there's so many like lessons you learn, but I think that do it for the right reasons. If you're doing what you're doing for the right reasons, the hard days will feel worth it. The challenges feel worth it. And you can press through anything if you're doing it for the right reasons.
Mm, that's a big one too. That's so true. Number 3 is, what is, I guess it could be a book, a podcast, an article, just anything that kind of stood out to you recently.
Yes. Okay. I read the book Leaders Eat Last in grad school by Simon Sinek. And
Hmm.
um all these years, and I'm never sure if it's Sinek or Sinek. But it's a great his last name, but it's a great book, and I read through it every year. I downloaded it on Audible, and I just read. It's just such a good reminder of the humility and the servant leadership aspects, and why we're doing what we're doing. So that's been a big one. And then I recently read Good to Great at the
Hmm.
recommendation of another gym owner that I met from Ohio. And man, I listened to that. I downloaded that on Audible too, and I would listen to it like before our leadership team meetings, and I would just come in like hyped up, ready to go. And I'm sure my employees were like, "Oh my God, did she drink like too much coffee?" And I did it. I'm a 1 cup of coffee girl, but I was 3, cups of coffee energy from that book. So those are my 2, like, just finished Good to Great, rereading Leaders Eat Last. But yeah, those are the things I'm just eating up right now.
Good. I just wrote those down because those sound like some that I need
Oh,
to.
you're gonna they're like good reads too. Like they're
Yeah.
not just like a business book where you're like flipping pages. You're like, it's like a good story.
Oh, that makes it for me.
Yeah.
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 Final question in our rapid fire is, if you had a magic wand
Uh-huh.
and you could overnight improve one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Oh, easy. Communication.
Oh,
Communication.
I
That
kind of want to dive into that.
It's our word, it's like our word of the year.
Okay.
Uh, it's kind of like a romantic relationship in a way where you're like, we can always be better communicators. And like when we argue, we're gonna come at it like, hey, we're on the same team. So let's argue in a way that is healthy because we both want the same goal, which is a stronger relationship, a better outcome. And so what we've learned, I mean, I swear every personnel issue, every HR thing, it all boils down to communication. If someone had communicated a little faster or a little more clearly or to the right person, or had just been honest and said, oh, that really doesn't feel good.
Mhm.
I'm like
Mm.
99% of any issues we've ever had would have just been solved like that. And so that is definitely if we could all just be, you know, the very best, you know, pinnacle of achievement communicators, things would run so smoothly. But on the flip side, it's again, it's those lessons. Like, when my employees come to me and they're like, "Oh, can we talk about this?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh. Yes, but that happened 6 months ago. What? You just been holding this in. Like that's not good for your mental health. That's probably not good for your physical health. And we could have addressed this so long ago." And so those interactions while we're trying to improve communication, it's giving us like a chance to learn each other better. And it's giving us a chance to build the trust and to go, okay, we are like, you're feeling a little burnt out. I don't want you to feel burnt out as your employer. You don't want to feel burnt out as a person. Next time it even approaches this feeling, come talk to me. Like, let's communicate about, I need you as an employee. So it's in my best interest to make sure that you're happy, that you're feeling fulfilled. So like bring your stuff to me. I can handle it. Um, but yeah, communication, man. It
That's
is
fun.
key.
That's a big one. Well, this has been so fun, Allison. Before we wrap up with our final question of the day, how can folks get in touch with you and your business?
Yes, so you can find us online, championswestlake.com. You can also find us on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Champions Westlake. And you can come visit us. We are in Westlake, and then we're also in Dripping Springs. So just look up Champions either in Westlake or Dripping Springs. And then if you are looking for me, you can find me on Instagram at Allie with a Y _ Huddleston or AllisonHuddleston.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Allison, for our final question today. What is most inspiring to you today?
Oh, okay. It's the most inspiring thing to me today, but it's also the most inspiring thing for me every day. And that is, maybe it sounds a little cheesy, but it's so true. For me, it's the kids that we get to work with every day. I get to see over 1,000 kids come into our gym every week, like hyped up to be there. There are times where I look down from my office and it just makes me emotional that we get to work with these amazing kids. And for some kids, it is a place where they are burning their energy. For other kids, it is like their safe space.
Mhm.
Um, some of these kids will go on to work for us. Some of these kids will go on to do gymnastics in college, and to just see so much potential in one building, you can't help but be inspired by that.
Well, that is like touches my heart too. As a former child gymnast, like I remember those days. I loved the gym so much. So
Yeah.
I know that you're touching lives with what you're doing. So
Oh,
thank you. Thank you for sharing your
yeah,
story with
yeah.
me.
Thank you. This was so fun.